Hello and welcome to round 6 of the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 Virtual Racing School Super Series. We are here at Silverstone for this broadcast on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Jack Cannan, Marco Barbner operating the cameras, and just like last night in the Radical Racing Challenge, we are back at the centre of British motorsports. The only time I've ever seen these Formula 3 cars race round a circuit, Jack, was actually at this circuit. If I recall correctly, it wasn't exactly the most exciting race of all time, but I think this one might be a little bit more because this is a place unlike Okayama where we last visited, where these F3 cars can really stretch their legs and we could see plenty of overtaking.
Yeah, I think this circuit is definitely made for these cars. You've got long straights, long fast sweeping corners. It's absolutely spot on. Here's your championship situation as it stands, very, very close across the board for your top four. It's Marteau at the top on 267, Connor Bell 2 points back on 265, with Drake on 262 tied with Will Redford on 262, with Sivi Zalba rounding out the top 5 on 224. Incredibly close at the top of the championship, which is exactly what we want to see, and going to be interesting to see how it rounds out. But here, of course, the AM as well. So here's Simon Brunstad. He's 3 points ahead of Aaron Smith and Florian Baer. They're tied on 163 apiece in second and third, and Kevin Kittleman just a few points back on 159, and Boberg also on 157 points. So really close across the board, Sam. Really looking forward to seeing Silverstone. Marteau, obviously a brilliant qualifier. So let's see whether he can pull it out of the bag. He always seems to pull a lap out of the bag at the last minute.
Yes, and these qualifying times will just be getting quicker and quicker as the session goes on. Only 4 laps these drivers are allowed, but with the length of this circuit, it's one of the longest that we visit all season long. They will do well to complete all of them. They'll have to get out for their outlap very quickly. The first few times are about to be put in. It wasn't an amazing race at Okayama. Overtaking was tricky, like I hinted earlier on, but it was a bad meeting for the championship leaders. Brunstad finished outside the top 15, I think, in both races, hence why his championship lead is so small. And then also Marteau had a non-finish, I believe, in the second race, or at least had to pick up a faster pair. So really a lots of changes in that regard. It was Connor Bell managing to get the double win, but those first qualifying times at the moment going the way of the Dutch driver. But I expect those times to maybe even dip into the low 52s, maybe even the high 51s by the end of this session.
Yeah, we wouldn't at all be surprised with the quality of driver we've got on the grid. It's Marteau from Connor Bell. Paulo Dreta is up there in thirds. Then you have Aaron Smith in P4, 3/10 off a pole, and Will Redford in the pro class. Of course, Smith, the AM class, denoted by the little red mark you see on the timing tower. Green, of course, representing the pro driver. So incredibly close in both championships, which is absolutely perfect for the build-up through every race. Rosenkrantz, he's just about to come across the start-finish line. Finish lap at 53.6 is that lap. That puts him up to P5 and just behind Aaron Smith, and a decent effort from him. That'll be P2 in class as well. So obviously they're fighting for overall position, but they're also fighting, more importantly, for position in their own class. Daniel Sivizabo, the Hungarian driver, just coming through Chapel and down the long hanger straight up towards Stowe corner. Brilliant section. Definitely a prime overtaking opportunity if you manage to get that exit slipstream. Incredibly powerful in these cars, especially around here. Long flowing corners, and we've definitely seen in the past in many league races over the years, Sam, there's always somebody on the last lap who sends it into the last corner.
Yes, we saw that yesterday actually in the Radical Racing Challenge, and yeah, it was quite enthralling to watch as well, look at that, we're already into the low 52, so 51 is inevitable, it seems, for these drivers. Still a couple more laps for them to set, and it's Marteau currently with the advantage. Redford moves up into second position. Race winner, of course, back at Montreal was Redford, and those top 4 really the dominant of the season. Westerhoff with a very good lap time though. He's in third. He needs to be quick though, Westerhoff, because he's got 3 minutes and 50 to go in order to set 2 lap times. He should be alright, he should make it across the line just in time, but it'll be close. We're currently watching Derek Adjinsons. He will not be able to set 2 more lap times, it will just be 1 more lap for him, because once we get to that 10 minutes, that's it. You're not allowed to complete the lap that you start, so they do need to be very quick and very diligent around this long circuit. Also, Daniel Costa da Silva just rounding the final couple of corners for IDAC competition. And where is he able to go up to as Rosenkrantz just goes 7th, Costa da Silva manages 17th.
Yeah, good lap from Stephen Vesterhoff. It's about 2 thousandths behind Will Redford. See, we're looking at the Canadian driver Connor Bell flinging it through Maggots and Beckett's and Chappell. He'll get across the line to finish this lap, but going to be tight where I don't think he's going to get another lap in. So this will be his final attempt as we go with him towards Stowe Corner. You can see it's actually uphill, and you've got to really fling it in, trust the car, get it to the apex, and cannot afford to run too wide out to the left-hand side. That'll give you an off-track, and then crucial break as he's actually backed off of that lap at the end of it. So that may be he may just get in his last attempt here, actually. So he's backing off and going to go for this very last attempt. We'll get across the line with about a minute left to go when he finishes that. Aaron Smith pops into 4th place, the AM-class driver, slotting in there, and Paolo Dreita goes to the top on a 52.27, improvement from Marteau as well, but a 100th of a second is all it is between the top 2 as they go on to their final attempts.
Look at Redford as well improving, but he's just short. I'm sure there are better lap times available for these drivers because they're all improving, but only by about a 1/10 of a second on the most part were those front runners. Westerhoff also improving. So Smith in 5th place and Connor Bell, who, like I said earlier, won both races at Okayama, needs to have a good final lap here. Stakes are high. This isn't a circuit where you're necessarily doomed if you start further down, but you would certainly rather start high up. Rosenkrantz has been fluxing about the top of the amateur standings so far today. Wasn't a great qualifying for him at Okayama, but he did really well in the race. I think he may have won the amateur category in race 2 in his debut in an Apex Racing League event. And it is Rosenkrantz, that time not improving, but he has got not enough time to get to the line. He's only got 1 minute 10 to go. It's a 1 minute 50 lap, so that will be Rosenkrantz end to the session. Everyone ahead of him on the standings, though, should have enough time to complete their lap.
Yeah, they'll just have enough time. And currently, it's Aaron Smith who's smashing it at the moment in the AM class. He's coming down towards Stowe Corner now in the 242 car, flings it into the right-hander, and is about 3/10 to the good over Florian Beer. Of course, he's trying to fight for the lead of the championship. Brunstad's all the way down to 12th, actually, about a couple of tenths, so nearly a second off of Smith. So Brunstad not on the pace in qualifying. Here comes Aaron Smith, and he maybe improve his time even more. Comes across the start-finish line, and it's not an improvement of 52.487. It's not enough to go top of Marteau, 52.1. Dreita, 52.0. He goes to the top, and he will take provisional pole position here at Silverstone. We're going to wait for the last couple to get across the start-finish line, but excellent lap for the Brazilian driver, Paulo Dreita. Here comes Vesterhoff. He's coming through the last corner now, 52.3 for Redford. Vesterhoff, does he improve his time? Yes, he does, and he goes to 3rd. A 1/10 of a second is all it is, but it's Paulo Dreita who pulls the time and takes pole position in Silverstone. Really great effort from the Brazilian.
That is a real good qualifying session once again. It was awesome to see so many drivers mixing it out. Seemed like it was about a 6-car battle, and Bell, in the end, not improving on his last lap time, so he'll be starting fairly low down the order. So we've got a 20-minute race and then a 30-minute race. Standing starts for the drivers to deal with. And on pole position then for the first race of the evening is Paulo Dreita. Kai Thiago Marteau in 2nd place, championship leaders, of course, they're in the top 2. Then it's Westerhoff with his best quality of the season, I believe. Will Redford lines up in 4th. Then it's Aaron Smith, top of the amateur drivers, looking for that amateur championship lead. Then it's Connor Bell, Brian Crone, Florian Beer, Jensen Adjinsons, and Chris Rosenkrantz rounding out the top 10. Behind that, it's Christian Engelhardt, Daniel Sabo, Kevin Kitzelman, Simon Brunstad, Shane Dunn, Jack Reeve, Rickard Boberg, Daniel Costa da Silva, Derek Holland, Darragh Adjinsons, Alexander Rockenbach, and Steve Brown rounding out the 22 cars.
Yeah, so looking good. 22 car field today, so not normally the size we expect, but should be really good for the race today. Everybody kind of close together, equal split almost between the pros and the AMs. And the AMs really doing a good job there. Smith mixing up in the top 5, and really looking forward to seeing how this goes. Of course, we've got a 20-minute race and a 30-minute race coming up for you. Paulo Dreta will lead the pack away once we go green. We're just waiting for the last few to ready up, but being in the lead here, do you really want to be in the lead because of the slipstream? It's a hard call to make, but going to be an interesting one nonetheless. Of course, the grid for race 1 will, of course, be the grid for race 2, so you got to make sure you get a good result in the first race to make sure that you will get a good grid position for the final race. So here we go, first race of the night at Silverstone, about to go green in just a few moments' time. Paulo Dreta on pole, and we are away for the first race of the evening. And immediately, Paulo Dreta peels across to the side to cover off Marto. Westerhoff goes to the outside line. Brilliant start from him. He goes around the outside into turn 1. But it's a clean start from Paulo Dreta. Westerhoff trying to challenge Marto as they head up towards the first couple of corners. You can see Will Redford 3 wide with Conor Bell and Aaron Smith going around the outside of Redford as they head through the first section for the first time. All clean so far from the top runners, but a great start from Paulo Dreta. Did what he needed to do, covered off Marto, but Marto will get the run as they come down towards Brooklands now. Peels off to the left-hand side now. What does he do here? Does he try to go for the overtake immediately? Yes, he does. Marto to the outside of Brooklands, doesn't have the overrun, but again, a very clean start. Bell going to be contacted in the background. Off goes Smith. It was Redford diving down the inside. Thankfully, Smith, no damage. Oh, another spinner in the back. He's going to get collected as he rejoins, and unfortunately, it's going to cause a big pile of 1, 2, 3, 4 cars involved in that one. So unlucky for Aaron Smith. Got tagged and then tagged again, but no such problems for Paulo Dreta. He leads at the midpoint of lap 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's that Florian Beers now at the top of the amateur standings. But yeah, that is disappointing for Smith. Do get a faster pair to these shots. As we've got another spin in the background. That may have just been cold tires for Rosenkrantz, who's round. He was in a tight battle with Engelhardt, I believe. So he gets back going. Fortunately, the drivers behind managing to get out of the way. That is, yeah, quite a change in the amateur category, but in the pros, it's fairly similar. But Cabell crucially gets him back up into 4th place, recovering after that poor qualifying. But it's very close at the moment for 2nd position, as Westerhoff is looking to the inside of Marteau, as Redford retakes 4th position. Westerhoff can't quite make that move. Now he's under pressure from the drivers behind. Bell is going down the inside here.
Oh,
There's going to be contact, and 2nd and 3rd take each other out. 2 of the main championship rivals, top 2 in the championship, have made contact there. It was an over-ambitious move there from Bell to make it 3 wide on cold tyres on the first lap, and it has absolutely spelt disaster.
Oh, Conor Bell just completely missed his break, but it takes out Marteau, the championship leader, and that is exactly what the championship contenders would have wanted to see. Conor Bell is 2nd in the title, 1 and 2 in the championship, coming to blows on board with Marteau. This was his view of it, so he's obviously trying to defend here up in 2nd place. So breaks and goes to turn in, and you'll see now, just bang. Absolutely nothing he could do about that, thankfully. And his wheels have not come off, just the side pod missing, but they've had to come back to pit lane. What an absolute disaster. Back to the front, Brian Cruan, how about him round the outside of Brooklands, and he gets ahead of Will Redford into 3rd. Redford drops to 4th. Florian Beer now leads the AM class in this early phase of this race. Of course, it's been a chaotic one. Paulo Dreta's 2.2 seconds up the road now, thanks to that issue before. Aaron Smith, of course, getting taken out early. So Florian Beer is your new AM class leader as they through Cop's corner. They come for the 2nd time of asking. Florian Beer, Engelhardt, Bober, Kittelman. That's your AM class field. And it's Dreta, Westerhoff, Kroon and Redford, your top 4. But this has been complete chaos in this early part of service. We're on board with Christian Engelhardt, who's 2nd in the AM class, chasing after Daniel Civi-Zalba, getting a lot of understeer through that Magnussen-Beckett Chapel section. And he's got Richard Bober just on his tail behind. Kevin Kittelman's also in there. Big opportunity for Florian Beer. Of course, he's tied on points in 3rd place in the championship. And Aaron Smith, who's of course 2nd in the championship, is not. He's obviously had to carry on, but he's 18th in this one. So big day, big few races for him. But wow, we did not expect to see that early on. I think that was just a complete misjudgment from Conor Bell. Completely missed his braking point, and we've had the car move over to the side, but that was Bober moving out of the way of Adriansons, and he's going to lose another place here to Ricard Boberg. Not good, 2 places in one corner, and that lets Jensen Adriansons through. Kittelman stays behind, but not good for the championship leader or the second place man of the championship for that matter.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a slowdown there for Boberg. Must have gone wide at stay. And eventually you do get not just a 1x, but also a slowdown. So yeah, amazing news for Drayton. And Westerhoff still with a small chance of the championship. 6th place at the moment. Got plenty of points to gain back as you see Redford retaking that position. Seemed to get flustered or something by that incident which happened just ahead of him between Marteau and his other rival Drayton. But he's back with the momentum again. Redford back up into 3rd position. And also, is that Daniel Sivisawa just trying to make a move here on Christian Engelhardt? Sivisawa might be benefiting in the championship, but now there's contact and they have both spun off. I believe Engelhardt's reached the wall. Sivisawa should be able to continue, maybe just with a front wing change. I'd like to see a replay of that one because that seemed to be quite a late move there from Sivisawa, maybe just being caught out by the driver ahead, slowing down as much as he did.
Yeah, goes in, he thinks the space is there, just tags the rear end of the car in front. Just a little bit unlucky, but a late decision to go up the inside from Sivisawa, and that's what happens. And especially at the fastest corner on the track in Cops, and it was never really going to end well there for either of them. But they rejoin, and Rosenkrantz was almost able to capitalise. Oh, actually, there you go. It was a separate instance further on in Maggots and Beckett, and Derek Holland was the other Indy Autosport car caught up in another incident with Rosenkrantz through Maggots and Beckett. So it's been a real race of attrition so far today, but Drayton's seen none of it. It's Westerhoff 2nd, Will Redford in 3rd. Now, of course, remember, Marteau and Connor Bell. Bell is back out on the circuit. Marteau is not. So Connor Bell, he's 2nd in the championship, 2 points off the lead of Marteau. And Paolo Drayton, 3rd and 4th. Of course, Paolo Drayton and Will Redford, 3rd and 4th, tied on 262. So Drayton could really flip the championship in his favour, as could Will Redford, and maybe take 2nd away. So this is a total, really, really interesting flip of the championship with one simple incident.
I don't know why Marseille hasn't got back out there, to be honest, because he's got the faster pair to hand, so he can get back out there if he so chooses, and of course it's important that he does, so that he scores at least some points, because even finishing 22nd is still, I think, like 15 points, something, 10 points, I think. So it's something worth doing, unless he's banking on this one being his drop score. They do get 2 drop scores across the 10 meetings, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Massive changes coming from this race. Ryan Crane staying fairly close. Here is Rosenkrantz again, and this time it's a little bit of a safer move on his fellow countryman Alexander Roggenbach. He's up into 14th now, is Rosenkrantz. Meanwhile, this is a change between Kitzman and Boberg. Boberg we saw pick up the slowdown earlier on. It was a fantastic start for Boberg, but just starting to lose a couple of places again. Kitzman, who qualified well up in the top 10, manages to get past, of course, the Apex Racing League GT champion in the amateur category, was crowned a couple of weeks ago. So Kitzman no slouch, and he's now 4th place in the amateur category.
Also matches up exactly where he is in the championship in the AM standings. He's 4th there on 159, just a couple of points off the back of Florian Beer, and he's currently ahead of Brunstad as well, who is the leader of the championship. Aaron Smith is down the order a little bit. Florian Beer is the man who could really flip the championship in his favour this evening if he finishes where he is, and that could of course make for some interesting viewer later on. But Boberg and Brunstad are the 2 next up on the track. Boberg, of course, chasing after Kittelman in front of him, just been overtaken. Brunstad just about 2nd and a bit behind, chasing the Swede down. But it's Bear, the German, the 2 Belgians, 2 Adriansons in 2nd and 3rd in class, of course. Jensen and Dara, and then Kevin in P4 in class. Boberg chasing him down. But Westerhoff is trying to chase down Paulo Dreyta, can't really get that gap too much below 2 seconds at this moment in time. So Dreyta controlling the pace very nicely at the moment, and really this is a massive moment for him in the championship. He could come out of this meeting if he carries on the way he's going, because of course the result of this race carries forward into race 2, and he'll start from pole there as well. Can he maybe do a double? We've had so many double winners this season, but I don't think Dreyta has actually done it so far this season. We have another addition to the double winners list.
I think he has got one. I think he did it, was it Nürburgring? But I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, you're right. We've had, out of the 5 meetings this season, 4 of them have had doubles. And Dreyta should have really got the double at Montreal. He picked up a slowdown early on and was caught and passed by Redford in the end. Had he driven as well as he had done in race 1, then he would have undoubtedly have won that race too. So no, he's in line for that once again. It just shows the advantage of that pole position. But to Westerhoff, who really didn't do a whole lot at Wakayama, made a mistake in race 1 and had a bit of an underwhelming race 2 as well. And apart from that, in the championship, Westerhoff kind of one of the best of the rest, you know, around kind of that Series Sabo range. He's right in the mix, matching it with some of the best drivers in the league. So doing well in second place. Has just dropped off though. He was catching up to Dreyta, back up to 2.2 seconds now. Kittelman is trying to make up another place. Boberg is still staying with him. He's got his Indy Autosports teammate, Dara Adjuson's just ahead. You can see Dara doing a bit better. He had a rubbish Okayama round. And generally has had a couple of rubbish months on Apex Racing League, to be honest, in the GT Championship as well. But I can see him running high in 7th place, a bit behind his brother Kissman on that last lap, gained by about half a tenth of a second. So these 3 are very evenly matched, and then you got Brunstad just behind, actually catching them up by a few tenths of a second per lap.
Yeah, so making small inroads. There's Florian Berry, he's about 2 seconds behind Brian Kroon, who's 4th in the pro category, 4th overall. Florian Berry is your AM class leader at the moment, picking up the pieces from Aaron Smith, who got unfortunately taken out. Aaron Smith is still running in 17th place, and will still pick up points for finishing there as we head through the last couple of corners once again. And Florian Beer, I'm sure, will be very happy where he is. As long as he keeps consistent, he'll have a nice healthy advantage going into the next round. Did see Steve Brown have a bit of an issue further down. Yeah,
what's happened here? Through Beckett's and then into the chapel. Oh, he's just dipped away onto the grass. Very common mistake. And oh, wow, that would have hurt in real life.
Ouch. Yeah, I think they're going to need, he might need some painkillers after that one. But he's towed back to pit lane. Thankfully, don't have any of that Simmer. He's just going to go back and get himself a new car. Back to Kevin Kittleman. He's caught up to Dara Adrianson. This should be a relatively easy move. I think Adrianson's carrying a bit of front-end damage, and Kittleman is not going to have really too much of a challenge, and he moves through into 7th place and goes through past his team. We had Marco called Multi-21 over the radio right there as they did that. The 2 idiots, but a little twitch from Adrianson's, and Boberg goes through on the exits of Luffield, and very easily done for the Swedish driver chasing after Kittleman, who moves into a 3rd place in the AM category. Now he's got the other Adriansons to chase down. He's got Jensen in his sights now as the next driver up, and Dara Adrianson is now just going to try and sit behind Rikard Boberg and try and keep Simon Brunstad behind as well, the Norwegian in P10. The AM Class Championship leader still running and is down in P10. Overall 6th in class, so not doing too bad of a job, but would like to be further up the order considering he is leading the championship by a measly 3 points at the moment heading into this first race of the evening. But of course we still have another race to go after this one, a half-hour feature race, and we've got Paulo Dreyta at the head of the field, and the fastest lap on that time by Will Redford by just about a tenth of a second compared to just over a tenth of a second compared to Dreyta, but he is catching up to Westerhoff.
Yes, that's dealing with a bit of traffic at the moment, which was almost getting in the way. And again, it's very wide turnings for these hairpins, so knowing where the back marker is when they go that far up the inside of Steve Brown it's very tricky to tell. By the way, I would just point out to Marco Barb near it's obviously not multi 21. That was in order to stay behind. It was the opposite. It was multi 1-2. If anything, multi 12. Much more. Yeah, Fernando is faster than you, I think, on that occasion. No, the Indy Autosport Jars do work well together, so evenly matched as a team. That's they usually find themselves battling against one another. Of course, we're top 2 in the Apex Racing League GT Championship Amateur category, and they've done well in many other series as well, and of course occupying a few of the top spots in the championship in this series. That is, yeah, once again slow for the 207 Daniel Costa da Silva, just letting those drivers pass. You need to finish either 0 or 1 laps down in order to score points in this championship. So at the moment, everyone down to Silvi Sabe is within that. Apologies, Costa da Silva. That was Silvi Sabe having a spin through Luffields. He's dropped down to 12th position because of that.
He actually pulled off a nice 360 there, managed to get it pointed back in the right direction within in a couple of moments. There's your fastest laps from everybody. You can see Will Redford with the fast lap on a 52.2, which is immediately taken off by Paolo Dreito. Does a 52.25 on that lap and opens out the gap by a further half a second. So really good job by Paolo Dreito. He's in full control of this one. Vesterhoff hanging in there in second place. Redford just not really making inroads. He's kind of hanging in around that second gap back from Vesterhoff in P2, and oh, that was a little bit wide from Vesterhoff on the exit there. Actually caught the grass a bit, and Redford might have a bit of a toe on him now, actually, about a second back, and get the nice run down into Brooklands. On board with him now as he heads past the BRDC Racing Club on the right hand side and throws it into Brooklands corner, back into Luffield. And this would have been the old last corner on the old layout as we head onto the old pit straight, which is of course heading up towards Copse Corner. And you'll see now you're able to use all of the track on the right hand side without getting an off track, so you'll see them doing that through there up to Copse Corner. Let's see how they negotiate this. Little lift back on the power immediately, and you can see it's a very scary corner, but it's very, very high speed. Then through Maggotsbeck's best sector on any track through here when you have a car with downforce. It's just immense through there. And once, if you get it right, it is absolutely brilliant. Terrible if you get it wrong, but a brilliant run from Will Redford through there, and he brings the gap slightly down to about a second, 9/10 of a second. So he's hanging in there, but so evenly matched, these top three, just within a couple of tenths of each other.
Yeah, and as you get closer as well, you start getting a little bit of the turbulent air. I don't think Redford can really say that that's costing him too much from that point back, and of course you do get the toe as well, but still something slightly to factor in whilst you're going through these high-speed corners. We recently had Adjinson get back past Boberg, so Adjinson was struggling a little bit, and now Brunstad is right with these drives, so maybe it was a mistake actually from Boberg. I'm just thinking, what was that last lap for Boberg? It wasn't actually, well, actually they're just approaching the line now, aren't they? So we will get a representative time coming up. Just see it on the left there, and yeah, you can see, pretty rubbish there for Boberg into the 55s. He was trying to get straight back past Adjinson's. Almost flats out is the Abbey chicane in these cars, such as the high downforce to power ratio. And so the front straight is really extended into the hairpins. Here comes Brunstad. Fortunately for him, isn't run off the road. He might be run off the road this time. However, he's keeping part of his car alongside. And now they do collide. And that is the championship leader, Brunstad, and another championship rival in Boberg having problems. And that's great news for Aaron Smith. There is Brunstad getting back on his way, but he's got lots of damage. He will score points as long as he can just round this next lap. Then he will be within range, but this is absolutely dreadful for these two. They weren't leaving each other a lot of space, but that time kind of looked like it was Brunstad who came a bit too far to the left.
Yeah, I think trying to avoid the off track and came across the left and hit the right rear wheel and sent him into the sky. Richard Boberg flipping wildly. And unfortunately, Brunstad going backwards into the barrier and damaging the right rear wheel, sorry. and he has to crab back to, oh, he's had to tow back to pit lane, obviously, but that's exactly what Florian Beer would have wanted to see, and you are spot on there. He's in the lead. Jensen Adriansen second, now Kevin Kittleman up to third. Jack Reeve moves into P4 there as well. Brunstad is still going around the circuit, crabbing and trying to limp back to pit lane, and desperately trying to hang on to that car. A lot of rear suspension damage. I think it went in with the right rear into the barrier, so it's going to be pointing with a lot of toe out. The rear wing is askew as well, and he's doing well to hang on to that car for now. And of course, Scandinavians do know how to drive sideways, but I think this is taking it a bit too far.
What I always like in this circumstance is because he's turned the wheel left, you can see the driver is like looking to the left, even though there's like nothing there. Of course, the driver should be looking straight, but because the steering wheel is turned, iRacing by default makes it look like they're turning left. So really not looking at the right part of the circuit there is Brunstad. But I do like the effort. It's important for these drivers to get points. Brunstad might still be able to beat Bell if he can get through the pit lane nice and quick, and he'll certainly beat Brown and Costa de Silva, whereas of course if he towed back, then he wouldn't have done. So it's good to see that level of determination as here he comes in. And yeah, this will be close between himself and Bell. Bell is just coming onto the hangar straight, I believe, at the moment. So Brunstad might be able to hold on to that one, as we see our race leader, Paolo Drater, won double so far this season. 3 race wins, I believe. He also won back at Montreal. Wasn't a fantastic Okayama, a little bit of a quiet round for him, but he managed to get that pole position for this race 1. And whilst his rivals were crashing behind, he was always looking ahead. He is going to take a comfortable race victory here at Silverstone and take back the championship lead as well. Paulo Drater, the Brazilian, wins at Silverstone and with the fastest lap of the race as well to round it off. Florian Beer will finish in 5th position and crucially top of the amateur drivers, his best drive of the season, ahead of Jensen Adriansen's Kevin Kitzman and Dara Adriansen's, making it a good race for the Indy Autosport team. Sirisabe had his problems. He's remarkably going to manage to finish in the top 10, just a little bit short of Jack Reeve in the end. Despite the car all over the place is the Hungarian, and does round out the top 10 there. Rosenkrantz in 11th, and Smith, after an excellent qualifying, will finish in 12th place. And Conor Bell actually 1 lap down in the end. And Brunstad, because he managed to get the car round the circuit, will take, well, I think he caused the collision, but I think he deserves at least to get this 16th place.
Yeah, for the effort of limping it back to pit lane, he certainly does, and he'll cross the line for 16th place. But now, in that one race alone, Conor Bell coming together with Thiago Morto, and now the championship lead, it goes in favour of Paulo Drater, as does the AM class lead. That goes to Florian Beer now because of the contact earlier on with Aaron Smith, who still managed to limp across for 12th overall. So he did a really nice recovery there. Aaron Smith kept his head down and recovered well. And Brunstad, at the very end, he will not lead the championship any longer. He had a very small margin coming in here, but he now drops down the order just a small bit compared to where he was before. But there's still another race coming up, half an hour to go, or half an hour race about to come up, of course, and that's going to be an interesting one to watch. Paulo Drater and Vesterhoff on the front row, and now we get to see, hopefully Marteau will take to the grid, but he'll be starting last.
Yeah, it's going to be a long one for him, isn't it? On that one, as we, of course, this series is broadcast or is sponsored by SDK Gaming, Apex Racing Academy, and Virtual Racing School. And we're just going to show you 1 or 2 trailers just to show you the services that those products provide. So we'll be back with you for race 2 of the evening in just a moment before these couple of ads. See you back very soon on Apex Racing TV.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world. including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala,
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke,
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong,
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
and many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome back to the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 Virtual Racing School Super Series live on Apex Racing TV. Once again, my name is Sam Fitzpatrick, and once again, alongside me is Jack Canan. Marco Barbanera bringing you these lovely shots of our host tonight, which is Silverstone for this round 6 of the championship. As we embark on the second half of the season, just got about a minute and a half left of warm-up before we go into a half an hour long second race. And I think we've already mentioned it so far tonight, Jack, but the double race win has been very common. If you get if you can get pole position for the second race, usually that means that you're going to win the race. I mean, statistically at least. Do you think it's going to be that simple for Paolo Dreiter, or do you think there's potentially good opposition behind him who could snatch that up?
It'll be a tricky one for Dreiter, I think, because he did a fantastic pace, of course, but he was helped with the crash between Conor Bell and Mark Tuggs. Those guys were on his tail for the first couple of laps, but he certainly pulled away when he needed to, and it seems to me that he seems to have the measure. So as long as he keeps that pole, has a good start, gets away, I can see no reason why he's going to be able to do the double. But the man who's going to have a lot of work to do now, he's lost the championship lead after the contact between himself and Conor Bell, Marceau. So he's obviously didn't finish the first race. That's a no points for him, and he will now have a lot of work to do in this second race of the evening. So looking forward to seeing this. But if Dreiter could do exactly what he did in the first race, I see no reason why he can't do the double.
Yeah, he was absolutely imperious with that first race. By the way, Conor Bell did send an apology to Kai Thiago Marteau for that one. I think he apologised to a couple of other drivers as well, so you could see the humility there from Bell, who's going to have a lot of work to do himself from outside the top 10. But we did see Redford win from outside the top 10, or around that range certainly, at Montreal, so maybe we could see a repeat of that here at Silverstone, as well, the starting order is the finishing order, of course, for race 1, so you probably know it already. Dreiter, Westerholm, Redford, and Krohn at the top, and then Beer, Adjinsons, Kitzelman, the other Adjinsons, the Darren variety, and Jack Reeve, the top drivers in the amateur category there. Bell starts in 17th place, Marteau lining up in 22nd. We saw a lot of chaos on the first lap there. Jack, do you think maybe the drivers have learnt about the cold tyres, or do you think that we've got a slightly more mixed up grid? Maybe the drivers will be more aggressive on this second start.
It could be hard to tell because you got the pro guys starting in amongst the AM guys, and Now, of course, Marceau has immense pace, as does Conor Bell, so maybe there could be some issues, but hopefully we don't see a repeat of race number 1 on the first lap. I hope it's a little bit closer between everybody. We're getting ready to go in just a moment's time for race number 2, and we are away. Drayton, it does the exact same. Not a good start from him this time though. Westerhoff gets the measure of him down towards turn number 1, looks to the outside. Westerhoff side by side, but it goes to Drayton just as they go through. But again, Westerhoff pulls alongside, heading up towards turn number 3 here. Redford watches in the background as Curran gets up the inside. Round the outside goes Westerhoff to take the lead of race. A big accident in the background. Florian Beer is in the air, and another one goes around. So one of the adjutants, as Jensen Adjutants, around in turn number 1, but the leader of the championship in the AM class, Florian Beer, ends up on his lid as they come down towards Brooklands. Again, Westerhoff leads, Redford second, Drayton challenging, Brian Kroon in behind, Aaron Smith, absolute flyer of a getaway. He leads the AM class after one single couple of sector. It's unbelievable from himself. He started 12th up to 5th already as they come through Luffield. Westerhoff leads, Drayton second, Redford, Kroon and Aaron Smith from 12th takes the lead of the AM class.
What a crazy start that was once again. Beer gets wiped out, it looked like, and Drayton with a poor start, as he called it, and Westholt absolutely positioning his car perfectly. Redford wasn't able to get past, but sees this as maybe his best opportunity at getting past the Brazilian driver all night long. So he really does need to try to make it if he possibly can. He's got a better line through Baggett's and Beckett, and as they run onto Chaplin, then the hanger straight, this could be a chance for the British driver. He dips into the toe. Drake's feeling like he's too far behind Westerhoff to take advantage of the toe, so just trying to cover off the inside instead. It is the 182 who stays just ahead. But yes, 7 places gained for Smith. Good start for Series 7. Amazing start for Marteau. He's up 12 places already from last on the grid.
Yeah, unbelievable from Marteau. Great one from Conor Bell as well. He's up to 12th place. Make that 9th for Marteau. Make it 8th as he continues to climb. Conor Bell moves up to 11th place as Jack Reeve has to go into the pit lane. He peels in to take a pit stop, probably to repair some damage. Westerhoff leads. Drayton hangs on to 2nd place as Kroon gets all up on the rear of Will Redford, heading up towards turn number 3, trying to get the undercut on him through here. And nice and close, takes a wide line, trying to get the cutback line as they head onto the Wellington straight, getting nice and close. But a brilliant start from Marteau and Conor Bell, who started down the back. Now both of them are in the top 10. Here comes Brian Kroon, the Dutchman now, trying to get past Will Redford down towards Brooklyn, but he doesn't go for the overtake. You can hear him backing off and staying behind the British driver at his home Grand Prix this weekend as well. Aaron Smith in P5, he leads the AM class. Sippy Zabo's in behind him. Kevin Kittleman is in 2nd in the AM class. Marteau's in 8th as Engelhardt and Costa da Silva battle it out. Richard Boberg is just behind him as they head through Luffield, very wide from Costa da Silva. Engelhardt goes through, but there is Marteau, 22nd. He started 8th. He's up to 14 places gained in 1.5 laps. Brilliant job from the Dutch driver, and as well to Conor Bell, who's up 7 places. Brunstad has had a brilliant start as well. I remember Brunstad, he was crabbing down the straight to get back to pit lane at the start, at the end of the previous race. He's up 7 places from where he started. Aaron Smith is also up 7 from where he started, and Westerhoff, he's only gained 1, but it's a very important one, 2nd up to the lead.
Has been able to catch back up to Westerhoff's, Drayton has been able to catch back up to Westerhoff. However, a bit of a slide for Westerhoff just at the end of that last lap, and it got his gap down from about a 2nd at its peak to down to 6/10 of a second. And Drayton was as close as 3/10 into Baggers and Beckers, couldn't quite stay close through that high-speed section, and now he's looking back in his mirrors again because Redford's looking quick. Kroon not quite with the pace of these top 3 at the moment, just dropping about half a second to the drivers ahead on that last tour of the circuit, and Smith coming under increasing pressure from Series 7. But look at Marteau, 53.6. It's a couple of tenths of a second faster than the front runners at the moment. So he's slowly catching up. 6 seconds to catch as we've got a wide Westerhoff there. He's making a couple of mistakes. Those may minimise as he gets into the rhythm, as he gets used to the lead, and as the tyres come up to temperature. But he's making things a little bit tricky for himself at the moment.
Yeah, just a bit wide on the exit of turn number 4 as he heads onto the Wellington straight. Gets it all together, though, just had enough to stay in front of Drayton as Conor Bell makes another place up to P9. He's chasing after Marteau Of course, they were the 2 championship leaders going into this one. It's flipped in favour of Drayta, but they're making a great recovery through the order, as is Aaron Smith, who's of course leading the AM class. The AM class lead, of course, at the moment, but we'll see what the championship points are going to be next week. It's gone all over the place thanks to Silverstone, but Westerhoff now, the lead for himself has come down to 0.2 of a second as they come through. Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, Redford's in there too. 2.5 back is Crew, and he's dropped off them now. Here we go. Looks like Redford might be the man who's going to make a move on Drayta. Actually, not a great exit from him through Chapel. Here comes Will Redford. Does he have enough to go through? I don't think he does. You can see not really gaining on those straights, or just sticking behind, hitting the limiter as they head towards Stowe Corner, and he stays behind for now. But these 3 very evenly matched. Still 25 minutes left in this race. You can see Drayta immediately defensive to the inside, while also trying to show himself in the mirrors of Westerhoff. Through the last sector they come, and it will be a still advantage Westerhoff for now. Marteau is closing in to Kittelman. He's pulled about half a second on him in that lap. Westerhoff says the fastest lap of the race, which is taken off him by Will Redford. Kittelman is about a second and a bit, and there's the fastest lap from Marteau. He's closing in at about a rate 4 to 5/10 a lap, a bit of a wiggle from Redford through turn 2. And he's getting all up underneath Paolo Drayta at the moment as they come through the first sector once again. But it's going to be tough now for these 3, especially Westerhoff. He hasn't got the advantage of any slipstream. He does that corner much better this time, but Drayta with a great run. Once again, he's just tucked in behind. He goes defensive, Westerhoff. Drayta, does he go for the move? He goes for the outside, dummies to the inside of Brooklands, goes for it on the inside. The Brazilian finds the space. They go side by side round the outside. Westerhoff holds it in. Into left field corner they go, and he manages to defend brilliantly against Paolo Drayta. Beautiful close racing from these guys, and they head towards Copse.
This is absolutely mega. Chase has got so much straight line speed. It was incredible to see Redford lose time down the hanger straights as he goes for it again. There's just absolutely no resisting the Brazilian driver at the moment, and he is through, up into the lead through Copse Corner. Now Redford trying to get through right away as well, but they need to make sure that they don't make contact. This is where Westerhoff might be able to stay close, as he might be running a little bit more downforce, but it's so tricky to follow, and the gap already opens back up to 0.3 of a second. Redford, this is his chance at the moment to get the move. He cannot afford to let Drayta get too far away. Crane also catching back up to these guys slightly, but the 114 car just doesn't have the straight line speed at the moment, running too much wing it seems for the raceability, but through the corners he is absolutely dynamic as he has to look to the outside. Inside maybe was open for a second. 160 of Westerhoff driving in deep. And now the big question becomes, can Drayta start to pull away? But Westerhoff just doesn't have the confidence on the corner exits, it seems, and it's just costing him a lot around this circuit. As here comes Redford, not enough straight line speed again to go for the move into Abbey.
Yeah, it's brilliant racing between all these guys. Redford's got to get past it because he seems that Drayta's opening the gap. Marteau as well, much quicker than the leaders. He's brought the gap down to Kittelman to about a second and a bit, and he's closing in very quickly. Drayta a bit wide through that part of the circuit right now. It seems that the low wing is not helping him through the slow speed corners, and now you can see once again he goes very defensive to the inside down towards Brooklands, but he has the straight line speed advantage. Back to the outside again and slots in. That's allowing Brian Kroon to actually catch these guys as well. You can see the flash of the car in the background. Aaron Smith is there in P5 as well, with Kittelman, who's actually managed to get past Sivi Zabo, and now he chases after the AM class lead. But this is fabulous racing. So close they were through Maggots and Beckett's last time and somehow didn't make any contact. Back to the pit wall again. Drayta trying to break the toe as up towards Copse they go again. Through they go, fastest corner on the circuit. Drayta tries to stick, Westerhoff tries to stick with Drayta, but Redford's all over the back of Westerhoff through that corner. But again, he's running a little bit too much wing. He's able to catch through these corners, but there's no space for him to go really through this sector. Gets nice and close up on the rear wing. You can see a bit wide from Westerhoff that time. Redford will get the toe, but let's see, is he able to close up? It's going to be I don't think he's going to be able to do so because Westerhoff has the toe off Drayta as well, and you can see just gaining absolutely nothing in a straight line against Westerhoff in a straight line. So you can see the difference in the setup between these cars is very evident, but Drayta is just doing enough at the moment to stay in front, but they're so close to be matched on pace. It's going to be hard to tell who's going to actually take it, but Drayta back in control. He's led like this before. Gap opens out to 0.4 of a second, and Westerhoff not using the toe this time. Drayta just doing everything to try and break him. You can see in the background, you can see the flash of blue. That is Marteau, another fastest lap.
It's incredible how close the top 8 at the moment are. I mean, no disrespect to Smith and Kitzman and even Siri Sabe. You wouldn't expect them to necessarily be staying close. So Crone throw him in there as well. But Drayton, not quite as dominant as he was in race 1. If he could get that gap to a second, maybe he would be a bit more confident. But Marteau consistently 0.3 of a second faster at the moment than the race leaders. That gap was up at about 6.5 seconds at one point. It's down to 5.3, but he's now got Siri Sabe to get past, along with many other decently quick drivers. Apologies, we haven't been shown too many battles further down the order, but of course that lead has been so close. This is looking insanely close at the moment though. It's Costa da Silva battling Boberg, who drives in deep around the outside. And that is a lovely shape there, pulled by Costa da Silva. Just behind them, Engelhardt nearly making contact. It is the Portuguese who loses out then to Boberg. You should have the pace if race 1 was anything to go by. Now they're 3 wide. They've got to leave plenty of room for one another. Boberg leaving 2 cars width on the outside. He had good awareness there. Spotter probably lets him know that he was going 3 wide and he was on the inside. As they go alongside, this didn't end too well earlier on for these drivers, and it hasn't ended too well for this time either, as Costa Silva spins. Doesn't actually lose too much time, and now, was that Boberg being spun round, I think he got hit by Engelhardt, and he spins round, so unfortunate there for Boberg, working hard to get to the front of that train, but by the time that he does, he gets attacked from behind.
Yeah, Costa da Silva did really well to keep the car straight in a straight line, and there you go, just collected all the slightest little bit. Actually, I don't know if he was collected. It seemed like he was already going to spin through that corner. I don't think it was actually contact. Very, very close. If it was, it could have been just a little bit unsettled from him. But Costa da Silva, lovely 360, kept his foot in it and keeps going. But back to Drayton, he's 6/10 in the lead right now. Redford still glued to the back of Vesterhoff. Kroon is just about a second back, and you can see Aaron Smith trying to break the toe on Kevin Kittleman. And here comes Redford down the inside into Brooklyn, side by side they go. Vesterhoff keeps his foot in around the outside. Redford will have the outside for Luffield. He's going to try for that switchback underneath on the exit, and he does get a lovely run outside, very wide for Drayton on the way out, touches the gravel, and they'll go side by side towards Cobb's corner. Redford trying to find some space here, doesn't have enough space to do it, but he goes to the inside, finds some space to head towards Cobb's corner. Will he go for it on the inside? Yes, he does. There's a contact. Vesterhoff has to go off the road, and he keeps it out of the gravel. Just a slight tap between tyres, and Vesterhoff keeps it in. Here comes Brian Kroon, can't get alongside into Magnus and Beckett. Thankfully, Vesterhoff keeps going. That could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Well, that is absolutely pivotal there for Redford. That has completely unlocked him. Straight, I think, makes a slight mistake out in the lead as well. But yeah, Redford can finally start to set his sights on the driver ahead, even though it did lose him a little bit of time to do so. But tight battling, Westerhoff battling really well with both Drayton and with all of his rivals tonight. But now he's actually just lost out to Aaron Smith. That's a little bit of a surprise there. But he's very deep on the brakes every lap into Vale as Westerhoff. That was a bit over-ambitious. Smith was generous and had good sight there to leave a little bit on the inside. And Westerhoff quickly going from battling for the overall lead to battling with the Jazz battling for the amateur lead. Got a great straight line speed once again though down that pit straight. He's trying to get past Smith immediately. Kitzman wants to get in amongst there as well, as it's another dive here for Westerhoff. He does get it stopped though most of the time. There's a bit of contest, and this may change the lead in the amateur category as Kitzman gets past, and Kitzman might fancy his chances on the Dutch driver as well.
Oh, this is absolute madness as they head down towards Brooklyn's corner. There's Marteau in the background. Connor Bell's in there too as we head with Vesterhoff. Kittleman having a go on Vesterhoff into Brooklyn. Side by side, Vesterhoff keeps it in. Marteau gets in front of Aaron Smith, goes up his inside into Brooklyn's, and now he keeps chasing after the lead guys. But Kittleman leads the AM class. We're looking back from Vesterhoff at Kittleman. Marteau is behind Kittleman. Then it's Aaron Smith. Then there's Connor Bell, who's of course fighting with Marteau for the championship lead as they head towards Cobb's corner. Outside line for Kittleman. He's not going to have any space to go around the outside there. Vesterhoff has to try and defend here now. Run out for Kittleman down towards Maggins and Beckett. Here's Marteau looking for space. Kittleman side by side. They go through Maggins and Beckett's going to try around the outside of Maggins. That's not going to work. He's going to run out of space through there. Once again, they keep it in. Marteau looks on the inside, finds the space. They nearly go 3 wide on the exit of Chapel. Kittleman stays in front. Marteau tucks in behind. Smith goes to the outside line. Will return to the inside for Stowe. And here comes Marteau. Here comes Connor Bell. Makes it 3 wide into Stowe corner. Chucks it up the inside. Marteau gets it stopped. Connor Bell keeps his foot in on the inside line. Kittleman still there on the inside. Sivi Zabo finds a chance at this right now. Kittleman looks to the inside of Marteau, but he can't quite get it done. Marteau from last moves up to 5th place. Connor Bell in 7th place right now. He may be able to get past Kittleman here, but that was fabulous racing from all 5 of those guys.
Awesome to watch that from the chopper angle. Could see everything which was going on. Just picking a lane, getting the toe from one another. Vastly different braking points as well. But yeah, it was Marteau who got to the front of it eventually. The 2 Dutch drivers at the front of the train. But Kittleman won't let them have it easy, and how quick was Bell down the straight as well. Seems to have maybe a bit of a skinny wing, does Bell, and that downforce element is really making a big difference in this race at the moment. Because if you've got the straight line speed, it does make overtaking a lot easier, and depending across a lot easier as well. Marteau still having to go defensive against the amateur driver of Kittleman. But it's only a matter of time till he starts to pull away. Now is 8 seconds off the lead, however, as we see Crone still staying right with Redford. What a terrific meeting this has been for Crone, as Bell has just got past Kittleman. I'm surprised he managed to make that one, Bell, to be honest. He didn't seem that close. It seemed like Kittleman was closer to Marteau than the other way around, but Bell has been able to move up into 6th position now. But yeah, looking good for Jata out in the lead, and looking a little bit bad now for Marteau. You can see 4th place just up the road.
Yeah, but now he's got Connor Bell right behind him now. Here comes Connor Bell. Great run, and he's got that rocket ship in a straight line, and he's straight through before the braking zone for Stowe. Connor Bell up to P5. There was contact between them in race number 1, but no contact this time, straight through. And Connor Bell was up to P5, and he fancies now to chase after Vesterhoff, who's about 1.5 seconds in front. But fastest lap for Paulo Dreta on that lap. Very closely matched between Will Redford, but exactly the same time set by Brian Kroon that lap. And Vesterhoff takes that fast lap on a 52.442. But Brian Kroon and Paulo Dreta, we talked about how evenly matched they are. I think that's about as good as you're going to get, exactly the same time.
Yeah, that's absolutely mental. Fastest lap of all things as well, at least at the time. I wonder if Marteau's got a little bit of damage, but I don't know. I'm surprised Bell was able to get past him quite so quickly. It's seems like it's actually going to be being undone. Now they've got a straight bike down the straight, and yeah, the Canadian just miles past. You should be able to see how much downforce the Jars are running by the thickness of their rear wing. It's a bit more pronounced in the Formula 3.5 car. You can see it a little bit in the Formula 3 as well, as they are still remaining side by side. Marteau with a slight advantage, but again, Bell a shorter line as well through Woodcuts, of course, with the inside. And will get his nose ahead just into Cobb's corner. These drivers can track extend here. Not too far to pick up the slowdown, but picking up the warnings, that's absolutely fine. And actually stayed well within the white lines there. And Bell might lose a place, of all things, to Kittleman. And he does. So these top drivers in the pro category just cannot shake these arms away from them.
Those pesky arms mixing it up with the championship leaders. This is the 2 championship leaders in both classes battling it out right now. Kittleman and Smith, as well as Bell and Marteau as they come down towards Stowe. Connor Bell going to get Kittleman straight back up the inside into Stowe. No contest right there. Marteau with a little bit of breathing space right now. Aaron Smith battling with Sivi Zabo in the background now as Kittleman tries to come back at Connor Bell. Goes late on the brakes, goes for the outside line. We'll just switch to the inside line again, and he gets him back once again. So great fight between these guys, very clean. And Connor Bell with the run towards turn 1 now, inside for Connor Bell versus the German. And let's see if he can stick it up the inside to turn 1. Very tricky, but he does slot it up the inside into turn 1, and he will secure that P6 for now. Kittleman comes back in though once again, outside line, which will turn for a switchback line, trying to get the inside for the next corner. And Conor Bell losing time to Marzo. The more he fights with Kittleman, who spins. Kittleman loses it and spins it in that corner all by himself and loses the lead of the AM class. In so doing, rejoins and will come out but just side by side with Brunstad as well. Let's have a look at this again. Looked like he did it by himself, went to the outside of Conor Bell and tried to cut back to the inside again, just over rotates it on the way through and thankfully didn't collect his teammate in the process.
Yeah, great work there from Silvi Sabo to pick the inside line, because that car is spinning all over the place. You have no idea when you're approaching an incident like that which way to go, where the car ahead is going to end up. And so picking the right way here was very impressive. We're going to show it off with this on board. Watching for him, the smoke not too much of a problem, but I know maybe a bit of luck as well there, just getting on the brakes straight away. But that's how you do it, you know, you get on the brakes and it gives you more decisions, it gives you more time to make a decision at least. So Smith back to the front of the amateur category as he was earlier on, of course, but well, they're quite segregated now, aren't they? Top 7 are all the pros, as Costa da Silva has had a spin there, but yeah, top 7 are the pros, and then the rest are all of the amateur drivers. So good work from the pro drivers to get back to the front of the order, because we did see them have problems in race 1 and start laying down in race 2. And this is Silvi Sabo actually having to hold on Smith, or has he just made that move on Smith? I think this is him holding off. You'll see by the lap time kind of who's got the momentum, and I believe it was Smith with it a little bit faster, and here he goes up the inside, nearly contact through the middle parts of Abbey. These drivers had plenty of troubles in race 1, but they're driving well in this race 2, and Smith with the advantage.
Yeah, Smith got taken out early in race number 1 and was obviously the pole sitter in the AM class as well, so trying to make up for the lost points. Brunstad trying to recover as well. He's second in the AM class, but Silvi Sabo is not making this easy for him. Back to the outside line. He goes towards Brooklyn's corner. They go. This is where Smith ended up in race number 1. Around the outside goes Silvi Sabo, trying to keep his foot in. Around the outside, Smith shuts the doors. They head through Luffield, and to keep it nice and fair and clean, Silvi Sabo trying to get up underneath him, but he just can't find any room. Smith defending very, very nicely. The British driver at home in Silverstone. Up towards Copse they go again. They've got about a 3-second gap back to Brunstad in P2 in the AM class, as again very wide from Silvi Sabo. He's got a wash of dirty air through Copse corner, and he's now get a great run through Maggots and Beckett, but there's no way through here through Maggots and Beckett unless you really are confident through here. Great shots as we ride on board with Silvi Sabo. Right-hander very wide from Smith, but he keeps a great amount of speed through there, but manages to keep it front. Goes defence and tries to break that toe, and Silvi Sabo will not have an opportunity to go past on this attempt. We have 22 minutes gone in this race, so not long at all left in this race. Just under 7 minutes, just under 8 minutes. Round goes Silvi Sabo. He loses it in Copse corner and gets it back going in very stylistic fashion.
Well, I mean, we've had some terrific battles so far tonight, but if we didn't have those battles, I'm sure that would be on social media, because that was wonderful stuff there with the 360 from Silvi Sabo. Well, massively overheat the tyres, so you better be careful through club here, because the car might be slightly unsettled. Kisselman, his teammate, does move past, but Silvi Sabo, real tricky day at Okayama, and for most of the championship he's been one of the most consistent drivers, you know, always there or thereabouts. Tonight though, just too many kind of self-mistakes. I think he spun at Brooklands earlier on, or at Luffield, sorry, and yeah, spinning at Stowe at the rear end just lets him go. So a tricky circuit this, the slick surface we have at Silverstone. Certainly in the Radical it is particularly tricky. SF3 probably a little bit more possible, but certainly by no means easy. So yeah, Kisselman up into 9th. If there'll be any team orders for him, of course, with Kisselman with a better chance at winning his respective championship. They're not far behind Brunstad either. Brunstad was pulling away though on that last lap. So yeah, really this pack of 4 could go anywhere.
Yeah, ideally, Silvi Sabo needs to keep behind his teammate here, and either that or release him to try and make life a little bit difficult for Brunstad up in front, because of course they're fighting for a championship in the AM class. Florian Beer, who took the lead of the championship in race 1, is down in 20th place after the first lap incident. All points, of course, are provisional pending stewards' inquiries. as they head towards Stoke Quarter once again. And just 24.5 minutes gone, so about 5 minutes left to run in this race as Drayton sets a 52.4 personal best, and he continues to carry on his way to another double for Paolo Drayton and definitely secure himself the Champions League. Sippy Zawa getting really close to Kittelman through that sector, very loose on the way through, keeps it in check, but he seems to have a very, very loose rear end. That car does not look like fun to handle as Kittelman gets all over Brunstad through turn 1. He's having a go for second place here, tries to cover it off, does Brunstad, and now up the inside goes Kevin Kittelman on the Norwegian, gets it stopped and moves up into second place in the AM class. Brunstad tries to come back at him. Civi's now going to try and get past as well, but he can't, and Kittelman seizes the opportunity and goes back through to second place, but Civi's Alba's car does not look like fun to handle.
And it sort of is because, you know, he's got a few Indy Autosport teammates up there and they seem to be going on fine. So maybe he's done something slightly different, or maybe he's overcooked those tires, or maybe it's just the way that he's driving, which is making it tricky for him. But no, that was a good move there from Kittelman, recovering some points after that self-spin earlier on, and has ended up quite far behind the leads, even though, of course, he was bouncing so well with Westerhoff and Marteau and co earlier on in the race. Talking of Westerhoff, it's going to be fairly close between himself and Krohn by the end of this race. The gap is down to just 1 second, and on that last lap, he was half a second faster. You can see that on the most part, kind of maybe averaging 0.4 of a second. I think that lap 10 an outlier, but the rest of the laps kind of averaging about 0.4 of a second. So he will be there in time, although the race leader just going to the line. This will be close if we get 2 or 3 more laps. I think it will be 2 more laps to go. Yeah, because a 1:52 lap and we've only got 3.5 minutes to go. So we'll miss out on a third lap by about 10-15 seconds or so. And Marteau quickly catching up. A great lap there from Westerhoff. His best lap of the race, and that's what he's going to have to do to the end in order to hold on to this place.
Yep, 0.7 of a second quicker than Krohn on the last lap. Marteau with the fastest lap, and Westerhoff firmly in the tow of his Dutch counterpart as well. Marteau also Dutch, so got a Dutch trio going on right here in Krohn, Westerhoff and Marteau. And Westerhoff will definitely have the slipstream on Brian Krohn to try and take a podium here in this 6th round of the championship. And if you thought slipstreaming was a lot here, I think you're going to like the next round. We head to Monza in just a few days' time. Of course, it's going to be a fantastic race at Monza with all of these cars slipstreaming down the long straight at Monza. Of course, we have a break week, and then we're back on the 5th of June for the race at Monza. That's going to be a fantastic watch as well, with the long straights, fast sweeping corners, exactly like you're seeing right here. But it's going to be even more chaos with that first corner at that track, of course. Back with Brunstad, who's trying to get back at Kittelman for the AM class 2nd place. These two cannot be separated. Kittelman got the job done on him earlier, and Brunstad trying to come back at him. Brunstad, of course, involved in a crash in race number 1, crossing the line for 16th place and trying to now get himself on the 2nd step of the AM class podium and try and get himself back in the Championship League. Going to be very, very close. But here's Krohn and Westerhoff still together, and across the line, Paolo Drayton right now at 28 minutes and 20 seconds ish left to run in this race. So we will not have a white flag. So it would seem this could be our final.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have had, I remember the AOSC race we've had around here, and I think the white flag's a bit bugged around this Austin circuit, because that time it decided the race winner because the checker flag didn't come out despite the time being elapsed by more than 6 seconds over. I think it was 7 seconds over, and it's going to be the same here. I mean, no way are we going to get to the end, but I think this isn't going to be the last lap because the white flags should be out. But if the white flags aren't out, then we'll have the extra lap. So thanks, iRacing. So this one will have one more than we should do, really.
We're getting our money's worth as Brunstad goes to the outside of Brooklyn's trying to get 2nd place from Kevin Kittelman. Side by side they go, and Kittelman should stay in front. Leaves Brunstad the space on the inside for Luffield and does manage to stay in front for it now. We'll have to wait and see whether Drake is going to cross. He's definitely not going to make the end for 30 minutes, but we have to wait for the white flag to run. If you don't see the white flag, keep racing. So up towards Cop's corner, Brunstad to the inside, and Kevin Kittleman leaves him loads of room on the inside line and make sure there is no contact. Side by side they go towards Maggots and Beckett's again. Kittleman still in front as they head through Maggots and Beckett's this time. And Brunstad trying to keep himself in the mix. Head towards the hangar straight they go. Here's Paulo Dreta. Checkered flag is about to come out, so there we go. We didn't get the white flag, but this will be the checkered flag for Paulo Dreta. He does the double at Silverstone. He will lead the championship. It is Paulo Dreta at Silverstone winning round number 6. Redford is second at home in the UK. Brian Kroon will hang on for third place. And great redemption story for Aaron Smith. He will come across the line to take the AM class victory. And it seems like Brunstad's got the job done on Kittleman, and he does take second place in this race. Very close between the two teammates, Sivi Zabo and the others, but Brunstad will take second. Kittleman will just, by a tenth, stay behind in third place in the AM class. Sivi Zabo takes 10th place, but great recovery from Marteau and Connor Bell. Marteau starting last and getting P5, but Paulo Dreta does the double at Silverstone and takes the championship lead in due course.
He had to work hard for that race to win, didn't he? I don't think he was necessarily much faster than Redford. That gap between the two of them kind of went from 1.2 seconds to 2 seconds in the end. But it was just that raceability, wasn't it? As a clash. Yeah, it's just that raceability of Jata's car really made it possible for him, and of course an excellent qualifying lap as well. We saw Bell's qualifying lap at Okayama pretty much setting the tone for the evening. I think Jata's qualifying lap kind of set the tone for that one as well. So really good racing, and it just keeps alive this intriguing championship that we're having, where not one driver can seem to really take a grasp of the series.
Absolutely not. We've had the championship change hands was second 2 or 3 times over the course of the night. So, of course, everything's pending investigations and inquiries and all of that good stuff. So we have to wait to see what's going to happen. But what's not in doubt is Paulo Dreta's double win this evening. There he is, confirmed. Will Redford 2 seconds back, P2, and he gets himself a good haul of points today at Silverstone. Brian Kroon with a very nice podium in P3 and Vesterhoff in P4. Marteau, brilliant drive from the back of the grid to P5, and Connor Bell likewise from a compromised position, he comes to P6. Aaron Smith, who was taken out in race number 1, he takes the win in the second race in the AM class. Simon Brunstad got the job done in Stowe to take second place in the AM class after also being involved in a race 1 accident. Kevin Kittleman takes third. Good day for him in this race weekend. Daniel Sivizabo P10. Christian Engelhardt will take 4th in class. Then Rosenkrantz, Boberg, Costa da Silva, Jensen Adriansens, Alexander Rogenbuch, Derek Holland, and Jack Reeve. And of course, we'll have a few DNFs from this race as well that will, of course, be discussing later on. There's the last few. Florian Beer, who was involved in the lap 1 incident, and Steve Brown with Shane Dunn and Dara Adriansens having early incidents and not taking the checkered flag. But 20 cars managed to take the checkered flag. But Paulo Dreta did the job, the double this evening, and a brilliant job done by him. We've got a few guys standing by, and I'm going to leave the first one to you, Sam. I think we've got our race winner standing by.
We sure do. Yes, we have Mr. Paulo Dreta, our double race winner tonight, joining us in the commentary box. Congratulations, Paulo. The first question has got to be that qualifying lap, because you didn't get pole by much, but it proved to be quite important. You are currently muted, Paulo, just in case you don't know. Aha, here we go. Paulo, are you ready for a chat with us?
The question for me?
Yes.
Okay, my English is really bad. I don't speak English very well, but I would like to say thank you for the stream, the drivers, and I'm really happy with this championship. I am training a lot for this track, for Okayama. This track I don't training a lot yet, but thank you, Fritando Pneu. Thank you, Subi Racing Brazil. Let's go for championship. Thank you.
Thanks for having a chat with us, Paolo. So that was Paolo Jates there, yeah, just giving his thanks to the guys who make it possible for him. Jack, who would you like to have a chat with next?
Yeah, let's have a chat with our second place man, Will Redford, who will come in to join us. Will, thanks for hopping in once again. 2 good races from yourself this evening. Good haul of points for the championship going into the last 3 rounds. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, the results were good. This is a new track for me, Silverstone. Literally, I bought it yesterday, so I spent like the past hour and a half before the race started actually learning it, so I didn't have much practice because I was really busy this week. So to bring home the results I did with, all these guys have been racing this like all week, so I was pretty happy with what I managed to do.
Yeah, race 2 looked like a very close affair, battling with the top 3. Of course, you're battling with Paolo and all the others up front. Really close racing. Must have been fun.
Yeah, it was. The setup I was using, the 6th gear, I don't know I think it had a little bit too much downforce, so the 6th gear would max out down the straight, so I had no chance to pull alongside them, which is why I think in the first few laps you probably saw me just sitting behind Paolo, that's because I literally couldn't pull alongside. So I was just hoping that they might take each other out, but they didn't, and that's where I was stuck really, because I couldn't overtake anyone.
Yeah, obviously we're trying to find the difference in the south between guys, but yeah, of course we're going into a break week next week before we head to Monza. I think, what do you think about Monza? It's going to be, I think, a slipstream fest, do you think?
I think it's probably going to be a bit of a slipstreams fest, as you say. It's probably going to be chaos with people trying to send it and get to the front. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it.
Brilliant stuff. Will, before we let you go, is anyone you'd like to say a quick thank you to while we're on stream?
Thank you to you guys for doing the broadcast. Thank you to Apex and VRS for running the league. And shout out to my dad. I don't know where he is this time, but shout out to him anyway.
Brilliant stuff. Will Redford, P2 in race number 2. Thanks for having the chat with us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks.
So that was Will Redford. Great job by him today. And we've got a few standing by. Plenty wanted to talk to us this week, Sam, which is kind of unusual.
Yeah, very nice to have so many interviews. I would just remind everyone as well, anyone who wants to take part in this series for the final 4 meetings of the season, go sign up. Go to Apex Racing Academy. We will be having, we will have like an offer where you can just sign up for the final 4 rounds. So it'll just be £12 plus VAT to enter the end of the season. So certainly if you're looking to enter next season, I thoroughly recommend signing up to these final 4 meetings to get yourself up to speed. Or yeah, if you just fancy taking part in the action, then do that. That's at apexracingleague.com. where we've got 6 other series and a couple of big announcements as well for other series, so you can join our Discord as well. There's a link to it in the description below. So yes, next up we will have a chat with, we've got quite a choice of drivers. I fancy having a chat with Connor Bell, actually, because it was a bad start to the evening for Connor, but it turned out pretty well for him in race 2. Connor, thanks for having a chat with us. First up, that qualifying session, it was a bit surprising to see you down in 6th place. It was very close, but you must have been a bit disappointed after your pole at Okayama to only be qualifying in 6th.
Yeah, I ended up spinning on my last lap of qualifying. Was just pushing a little too hard and hit one of those sausage curbs in the final sector, and ended up spinning. So yeah, that was a super rough race 1. It was completely unintentional what I did to Thiago Marteau. I basically couldn't see my braking marker past the 2 guys in front of me, and ended up way too late on the brakes. I tried to get out of his way, but I just couldn't. So yeah, that was definitely my fault on that one.
You did manage to get back out there at least, and at least get a slightly better starting place for the second race of the evening. And then it was a pretty exciting first couple of laps, it looked like, because I think he gained about 10 places in the first 2 laps, and you had, of course, Marteau battling again once again. I mean, that second race, the first 20 minutes in particular, looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was those were some intense first minutes of that race. I think I may have picked up a little bit of front wing damage. I sort of got sideswiped at the start of the feature. But yeah, overall that was a really good race. It was good battling with Marteau there for a good portion of that race, and I'm looking at the results here, and me and Marteau pretty much have the same fastest lap, and we were roughly 0.3 faster than the leaders without draft. So I think it would have been good battling had I not taken him out in the first race.
You're also only 2 points between the two of you now in the championship when you take into consideration one of the drop scores. Or that may have been 2 of the drop scores, I'm not sure, I'll have to have a second look, but it's very close basically. Of course, we've got a break week coming up. I mean, do you do anything different for a break week? I mean, I guess you're not going to have a race to practice for, but you're going to have a bit of a rest from the F3, or are you going to continue racing in the official series?
I'm gonna continue doing my official races, excuse me, just to stay in the groove, I guess, and then probably just work on some of the things I need to improve on, and hopefully just prepare a little earlier for the next race back after the break.
We wish you the best of luck for that one, Connor. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Shout out to all of my competitors. It was good, clean racing. And yeah, I apologize again for that lap 1 incident, but yeah, shout out to all of the racers out there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming and having a chat with us, Connor. We'll see you back in a fortnight's time.
Yep. See you guys later.
Connor Bell there with that 6th position finish in race 2. By the way, quick shout out to one of our sponsors for this series, SDK Gaming, who provides our glorious overlay. SDK Gaming, the absolute best overlay and live timing software you can get on all of iRacing. There's so much customization you can do on it. If you know just a bit of CSS, you can literally make it look like anything. SDK deals with all the calculations that go on in the background, whilst you can focus on making it look like anything. We've got the NASCAR templates. You can make it look like Formula 1 from a few years ago. That's kind of our default template as well. And like I said, you can make it look however you want. So do check out sdk-gaming.co.uk for more details. Who would you like to have a chat with next, Jack?
I think the man that's going to have a great story to tell is probably Aaron Smith. Let's have him in to have a chat with us. Aaron, thanks for hopping in with us. I think a tale of 2 halves. Race number 1 ending in Brooklands pretty much, and then picking up the race win in race 2 from 12th on the grid. A bit of a crazy one.
Yeah, it was mental. I mean, into Brooklands in Heat 1, Will literally just turned into me, and then Simon spun into me, so that was pretty much race over. But I did pretty well to bring it back to 12 in the end, finishing ahead of Simon, which is crucial for the championship. And then all of a sudden, at the start of the feature, around, I think, after 3 corners, suddenly I was in P5. I'm like, okay. That's a bit of a mental start. And I actually stayed with the pros for quite a long time. And then just towards the end, I just didn't really have much confidence in the car. The tyres just were starting to overheat a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the second race went pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, it obviously makes the championship a bit more interesting. Florian, who took the win in race 1, ending up at the back with yourself taking the win. So it's really, really close to the championship. You've obviously got your eye on it. 3 rounds to go. Do you think it's in the realm of possibility?
Definitely. I mean, I came so close to it so many times. In season 1 of F3, I came 2nd, and I only missed out by like 5 points. So I'm just gunning it for the championship this season. Hopefully by the end at Phillip Island I can actually win, but you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But today was, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw Florian upside down, that was a really good That was a feel-good moment.
A cheeky smile under the helmet through turn 3. Yeah, so we're obviously on a break week before we head to Monza. Is it all-out practice on the break week, or is it just stepping back from iRacing for a little while, resetting, and then coming back and going for it?
It's kind of like an in-between. I think I'm gonna focus on other championships for a week, and then once we're back, I'll focus on Monza a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna try and sort of take a little bit of a break because this week I've been doing quite a lot of iRacing. So I'm gonna try and back off a little bit and just recharge a little bit for Monza.
Excellent. Well, Aaron, thanks a million for hopping in with us. Before we let you go, is there anyone we'd like to say a quick thank you to?
My parents, obviously, because they're legends. They allow me to do this. Jack in the race, who unfortunately didn't have a good race. And anyone else who's watching. Yeah, thanks. And obviously, can't even forget you guys for putting it all on. You guys are legends.
Thanks very much, Aaron. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Monza, and have a good break week.
Cheers, guys.
Aaron Smith there, the AM class winner. Of course, I want to take this opportunity as well to say a big thank you to one of the supporters of the series as well, the Apex Racing Academy, which of course these drivers will have access to some of the data packs that are available on there as well. If you'd like to check that out, of course, and you're terrible at setups, just like me, you can get yourself the data packs over there, which are automatically synced to your PC with the SDK Gaming Setup Sync app, and it's also compatible with the VRS software as well. You can also get group and one-to-one coaching session, track guides, and even more. Check out apexracingac.com and get yourself a setup, because I'm also terrible at them. And Sam, I don't know about you, but commentators were not exactly great at driving, so this is very helpful.
Well, we don't really know what we're talking about. We're very good at making it sound like we do, but we really do not know anything. So yeah, we can use all the help we can get. So yeah, thanks to Apex Racing Academy, and of course thanks to SDK Gaming. Thanks to Virtual Racing School as well, and of course to SDK Gaming as well. They all help us out for this series, of course, offering prizes for all the top drivers in the Pro, Amateur, and Teams Championships. So huge thanks to them. Huge thanks to you for tuning in for this broadcast. By the way, if you prefer to watch stuff on Twitch rather than YouTube, then go follow our Twitch page instead, because we broadcast pretty much everything over there as well. All 20 broadcasts, all our Apex Racing League events, like the Apex Racing League GT Championship, the Prototype Championship, the 3.5, which is occurring later on actually, and of course the Spec Forward Racer as well, which is happening tomorrow.
Championship.
Yeah, so much stuff is over there, so do check that all out. And also our social media as well, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well, where we post our highlights of each of our races. Of course, if you've enjoyed this video though, and you do like YouTube, then do leave a like on it and subscribe to Apex Racing TV, so you are able to watch more of our broadcasts later in the week. My name's been Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me has been Jack Canan and Marco Barbner. This has been the Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 Virtual Racing School Super Series. We will see you back in 2 weeks' time at the Temple of Speed Monza for round 7 of the championship. See you then.